Marriage is about affection, enjoying each other's company, and above all, godliness. Do you know how to spice up your marriage to make it the real deal and not an ordeal? Stay tuned for today's lesson on the Marriage Classroom to learn about the measure you can put in place for you to enjoy your marriage.
This is another class that we are learning again about marriage. Last time we were able to come up with some what you call an acronym, or trying to use the letters in the word marriage to help us understand exactly marriage, what marriage is. And that's also another way of helping us to really realize what we are in and use it to help us. Now, anyone can remind us, maybe for those who were not in our class last time, to know what we learned. So what did we say the letters in marriage, the word marriage can mean? Yes, Moses?
Marital agreement requiring respect, integrity, affection, godliness, enjoyment. And
enjoyment. Yes, I remember we cancelled endurance. It is enjoyment, okay? Yes. That was good. That was good agreement. Again, maybe there was something else I told you to also see whether, because he said that is not like it's cast in stone. That is not like it is the one which is put down, that should be representing marriage. Anyone who came up with something else? Yes, George?
Marital agreement requiring respect, intimacy, availability, godliness, and enjoyment.
Wow, that's very good. You have gotten that he has added two other things. Which one and which one? Intimacy and availability. Yes, so integrity replaced with intimacy. That is very key. I believe that's why we are together. And then there is the availability. We need to be there and available for one another. I got another one. For myself, the teacher also did the homework. And I said this, marriage can mean making two adults to romance, respect, inspire, adjust, grow, and grow each other. Wow. How does it look like? Have you gotten it? I've said M for making two adults. Now, making two, then A to be adults. Remember, they are adults, isn't it? Then R, one R is romance. Wow. Because there should be love, there should be what we say, the enjoyment, isn't it? Yeah. Romance, then R, respect. I, they inspire. Then they adjust. Remember, there is a lot of adjustment. Remember, we are talking about two adults having come from different background. Those that, if indeed it was even intercultural or cross-cultural marriage, what happens? One eats waru, and the other one eats omena. Yes. Okay? Yes. And one puts soup in a dufu in a tank, using and another one whatever. And there must be a dufu, okay? Yes. And waru everywhere, okay? And carrots, and miji, and cabbages. And cabbage, and others. Okay? And another one, the ugari must be really hard. Okay? Yeah. So what you do, you must do what? Adjust. And then after that desire, after you have just, you have to help one another. That is grow. I use the G to me, to grow each other. And that is not the only one. I believe each one of us can come out, each family can come up with their own way of defining what marriage and what it means to you. Okay, today we learn now, because we are going on to really how, to see how we can make our marriage that good deal, okay? Yes. The good deal. Now we are going to do something about, or we learn something about the alphabet of marriage. And that does not mean we are making it so simple, like ABCD. You know, when you hear somebody saying, oh, that was ABCD, that means it was very simple. It's not that we are making it that simple. It's just to help us understand some of the ways we can do, or what we can do to help us make our marriage a good deal, what we are calling enjoyment, not endurance. So we are going to look at what we call active verbs. And they must be positive. Positive, and they must be active verbs. We go to school again, because when we talk about they must be positive means if A can mean something, anger your spouse. Okay?
Yeah.
Or do what? Or affirm, that is it. So we are going to look for the positive verbs, because the A can mean, B can mean anything. But we are going to look for they must be positive. Second, they must be active. That means they are doing. Okay? It is doing verbs. So it is like if I use just the word like L and say love, means there is something you're going to do. Why? We are going to look at something we are able to do, or we are going to commit ourselves to do according to what the alphabet tells us. When we will be looking at them, we will be looking at the alphabet, then give the words, and then after that, we look at ways we can do that action verb. Okay? Yes. So we start with the first one. And the first letter of the alphabet is what? A. And what would A mean? A positive action verb. And Moses had said affirm. What is to affirm?
To affirm is to positively acknowledge someone's abilities in a way that makes them feel better about themselves.
Yes, affirm. Quite a number of them. We can use the word affirm. Another word? Yes? Acknowledge. We may not write all of them. You write all of them because we can appreciate. All those are very important. Affirm, acknowledge, appreciate. So the one I'm going to look at today, we may not look at all of them because there will be so many, but you can pick out one. I picked out appreciate or accept. Accept your spouse or your mate. So we'll be looking at how do you accept. Now we are in this good deal, and you have this dear lady and the dear man you chose. And so the honeymoon is over. We are where rubber meets the road. Then you've realized there are some things you need to accept about this person who may not change. Now I had Moses talking about something he had decided to do in a way to accept. Because accept means to set a value or a price on. We can also talk about to be sensible of, to distinguish, to regard, and admire highly. That is to appreciate. It can also mean when we are also able to recognize the significance or the importance of something. Okay. So by the time now that one is about appreciation. Accepting is where we agree with what we have. Okay. Yes. You and then it's like you accommodate. It's like let's say I've accepted you, as we say I've accepted you. So that means I'm going to make room for you where you're going to come and stay and accept all of you. Okay. Yes. Yes. Now, let's look at ways how can you appreciate your spouse. How do you recognize the significance or the quality of your husband or your wife? How do you regard or admire him or her highly? Because that's what it means to appreciate. We're going to look at those ways. And I think each one of us can give us a way. Michael?
I think one of them is to verbalize your feelings towards that person or whatever they have done. Appreciating means, you appreciate that they have For example, somebody has prepared a nice meal. Say, that was a nice meal. That is appreciating.
Correct.
Yeah.
Say it. That is important. Right there. You think I look good? Say it. Yes. Let me get yes. That is
You can bought a gift for
somewhere,
her.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you go to her and you appreciate through that gift.
Correct. You can also buy a gift and appreciate and say, this is because of what you did. That's also another way of appreciation. That is Rose.
You should always say thank you.
Yes, thank you. It's a very good word. Sometimes, you know, you get somebody saying, it's not just saying, it is, would you say, thank you.
What are you for?
Yes, I know somebody who I bring up something, like he's forgotten a phone, I pick it and I bring it. It's like, what are you for? In a joking manner, what are you? And it's like uses the Deto language, you know. If you don't take care of me, who will? That's not saying thank you. That's not. It's taking this for granted that I'll be able to pick after him. No. Okay, Grace.
As the one that has said, whenever your spouse or your wife does something to you, it is good to let her know that you can appreciate, but you don't say. Okay. You keep it in your heart. You appreciate, but you keep it in your heart. It is good to say.
Good.
Hata saa zingine tunasaidiwa nyumbani, mume anakusaidia nyumbani, but you say it's my right to be given. It's my right to be done this. That one does not bring a good picture.
Yes, there should be appreciation, verbalizing it and all that. And the generation that writes SMSs, write it. If you can't talk about it, write it. Yes. Judge, you want to add something?
Yes, I think also in appreciation, when it goes now beyond a family setup to outside, I think it will still have some more weight. When I make my friends know that, oh, my wife is very good in this. She is the one who cooks, who has cooked this kind of food. I think it makes her feel better, appreciated.
Yes, you don't tell only her or him, but tell others about her. Tell others about him. Yes.
Now, for lack of a better word, I will explain. Example, you like hug her, kiss her, yeah, you know, something that will make her just feel good, or him.
If that's how you appreciate, then
yes.
Okay. Yes, we can have from Joseph.
To add on, yes, George, we appreciate our wives through introduction. You know, most of us men normally introduce our wives as mama ya watoto. Huyu ndio tunakaaga na yeye. But if you introduce her like, this is my lovely wife, you see, you appreciate her that way.
True. I think one of the good ways to show appreciation is how you introduce your spouse to others.
Yes.
Nina, you know, okay, you know, and mama wa nyumba, mtu wa kwangu, kuna serikali, and even the way the lady also introduces the issue is this: are you able to acknowledge this is my wife, this is my husband? You know. With all the other names that we also use, whether it's sweet, I've here some sweets, I've here darling. How do you introduce your spouse to other people? That is very important.
Yes. Introduce that you in BBI.
Si baba watoto na si mama watoto na si mzee ati mzee wa nyumba. Appreciation is who is that person to you now. It is not about the children and the village and all that. To me, to you, who are you? My wife, my husband. And that's very important and very key. Now, something else that I remembered, I don't know how many of you have read a book called The 5 Languages of Love. How many? Now, that will be part of the homework also. And also our viewers. A very good book, which even right now you can get it even from PDF. Those who are even in these groups of e-library, I've realized, and I can see maybe even how it can be accessed, because that's something that's already can be accessed. It's 5 languages of love. How do people demonstrate love or appreciation? Now, it's very important. Once you know how your wife or your husband wants to be appreciated, then you do it. And there are 5. One of them is word of affirmation, like what we've said. Word of affirmation. You did it well. What the Proverbs that one lady is told, other women have done it well, but you have done it excellently. Those are words of affirmation. And there is also the acts of service. There are people who feel appreciated when I am here, I'm doing my calls or my roles, and then you come here, help me around. And I heard Mr. Moses saying that. He goes home and finds he can help something. The wife, I heard you say something. You said you can do?
One of the things I've learned in time is that my wife is a human being. She gets tired. She has her moods just like I do. So if I find that there's a place she needs help, cooking, cleaning dishes, cleaning the house, I do it that she may rest. And when she does it, I still appreciate her. You've done it very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know she appreciates when you come in acts of service.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think women will really know that one. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add on to that as a way of showing appreciation. That one way in which personally I've realized works for us as a couple is for me to assist in the efforts that I see my wife do. Whenever she's struggling with something and I assist, she normally feels so much appreciated. One particular way is we have a young boy who is at that stage where he can decide to cry the whole night. So if I assist in maybe carrying the child, even for 5 minutes, in as much as she will carry the rest of the night, but I carried for just 5 minutes, she really feels appreciated with that. So I think these acts of service are a great way of showing appreciation.
Yes, and you realize appreciation means there's a lot, and you realize that is sometimes people say that's what is missing. You don't feel me when you can't, I can't see you involved in what I'm doing. Okay. Yes, the next the third one is what we call spending quality time. There are people who love just, of other things, be with me. Give me time. Maybe sometimes even to narrate what I've gone through the day. That is also a way of, there are people who feel appreciated when they are listened to, when somebody just has time for them. Okay? The fourth one is gifts. And we have said that. That those you don't appreciate unless you don't say thank you and there is no card. And you don't say thank you and there is no, chocolate. Chocolate, yeah. Chocolate, Lord. I've remembered. It's long since I got yes, chocolate. And a gift, a flower, maybe even a dress, a shirt. All that is another way of saying thank you. I appreciate what you've done.
But I want to ask, or to have an input there, that you must be able to buy the gift that person appreciates.
Yes.
You can end up buying flowers, and then somebody is wondering, I wish you came with spinach. These flowers I'm not going to eat, but spinach I would eat. So I think it is good to ensure that the gift, it is something that particular person is going to appreciate.
Okay. And the last one, that is very good, because if you bring a gift and they don't know what's the purpose for, like in Valentine, the others would wish, take me out, don't bring those flowers, I don't know what they mean. Okay. So once you know what they appreciate, then you do that. And the last one is physical touch. I know Africans, we are really not so good with showing affection or appreciation through physical touch. But that's something we can learn. I don't know. You realize when people are close together, they seem to really like being really near together, isn't it? One of the way to appreciate is also touch. It can even be, even somebody is studying and just hold his hand and say, thank you, you did well. That made me. Or even a pat on the shoulder, okay? A hug, a kiss. After taking mint. Okay, so that is also another way. The 5 things, don't forget, and that's a good book you can look for and read, and you realize there's a lot how we can express our appreciation by the 5 languages of love. So I hope today you've learned one of the alphabet, and that is A. To do what? Appreciate. You can affirm. You can also do acknowledge. You can accept.
Yes.
So the next one when we meet, look at B and give me all those words. And then we'll look at it and give ourselves homework. Remember, I've given you homework? Read that book. I'll ask you questions from that book.
Set me as a seal upon your heart, as a seal upon your arm, for love is as strong as death, jealousy as cruel as the grave. Its flames are flames of fire, a most vehement flame. Many waters cannot quench love, nor can floods drown it. If a man would give for love all the wealth of his house, it would be utterly despised. In today's discussion during the break,
Okay, now we had an interesting lesson when the teacher told us about the 5 languages of love. But when I was in class, I was just thinking, you know, it sounded easy in class, but in reality, some of these things can pose a challenge. Like when you're being told, always affirm your spouse. I remember a friend of mine was sharing with me, whenever he tries to affirm the spouse, he came and be I love you. The next thing anaulizwa ni nini unataka? And these things are not so easy. It's like there's some malice. There's some malice or some reason behind affirmation. So what are some of these challenges that we think couples are having, and how could they be handled? Maybe we can just start by brainstorming on these challenges.
I know for me, the other challenge that is there, I know especially for men, they say, when I told you I love you and I married you, you just know, unless I change, it remains. Yet to say, for me, I want to be told I love you in the morning, if we meet over lunch, as in if it's possible, infinity, yeah? So don't imagine that I know you love. I want to continue hearing it. So I think for me, there's assumption that at times men also have, and also not understanding what ladies or your wife or your spouse also want.
I can share my experience. Picking from where we stopped. So when I got married, I thought that love is to be there for my wife, to provide, you know. So I'm the kind of person who is at home before dark. I provide. So I felt, I love you. I'm here. Everything you need is here. But I learned that that is not the language of love my wife understood. She wanted more. She wanted the words. She wanted the affirmation. The time. In fact, the time was the most difficult one. So she says, let's talk. So you sit and, so let's talk. About what? Anything. As long as we are talking. And I'm wondering, so we just sit and talk about anything? And I can't understand. But I've had to learn that it's not about what you talk about. It's about being there. Not watching TV, not on your phone, just talking. And not talking about projects. That's the other challenge. It's talking about each other, talking about our love life. I'm still trying to figure that out.
It is very important that you figure out your spouse's language of love. I also learned it the hard way. I realized it, even how you look at your spouse could communicate something. There was a time nilinyamaziwa karibu 1 hour. Kuuliza shida ni nini, eti kumbe nilimwangalia na jicho moja. And I think we were just in bed, nilikuwa nimelala na pillow imefunika macho ingine. So why are you looking at me with one eye? Are you not happy to look at me? So it is, as you say, try to learn what makes your spouse tick. And that way you'll be able to express love more to your spouse. It's very important.
Sasa sometimes unaenda kuwekelea mkono hivi, mkono inatolewa. Then unaanza, kwani kuna shida gani? Sasa hiyo maisha, okay, according to the book, tutajaribu kuisoma. Now, another thing, ni ya time. Unajua times are hard. So sometimes you are relaxing, it's around 9, it's a holiday. Sasa mke anakuambia, "Hey, wewe utashinda kwa nyumba." Na sasa it was your high time, you thought utakaa na familia. Lakini with time tutaendelea tukiona vile tunaweza tafuta wakati ingine, because there's no way unaweza tokea hata kazini, especially for us, utokea around 5, ukifika kwa nyumba like mimi nikifika 5, kwani kuna shida gani? So kama ulikuwa umejiset na saa ingine, okay, kulingana na kazi yangu naweza enda mchana na nipate pesa, lakini nikifika mapema, the first question, kwani gari ni mbaya? So kuna ile time lazima ufike. Lakini saa kulingana na hiyo kitabu tutasoma na tutajaribu kukuza hii mapenzi yetu vile inastahili.
And I think in the 5 love languages, there's someone, 2 of them will be very important and the other 3 are not as important. Yeah, there are some, 3 of them will be important. So someone will be big on physical touch, they'll be big on gifts, they'll be big on words of affirmation. But on the other 2, they don't regard them that much, depending maybe on how you're cultured. Yeah, like for my wife, I know gifts are key. They're big for her. So najaribu hapa na pale. Sasa zingine unajua haukui very creative. So unapata unaleta ingine. Unaona hii haijabebwa na uzito ile ingine ilibebwa. But you try, because you might try maybe something else, like maybe spending time together. To her, maybe she has other things she needs to do. It's not big for her. Yeah. So tuzijaribu ati zote 5 zikue tick zote, but just the 2 that are big for them, or the 3. Then focus on those ones. Hizi zingine usizitie manani sana.
But then that will mean that even for married couples, they should also try to understand each other. Because for example, if I was not cultured in a particular way, I may be struggling with that particular language of love. And my wife should appreciate when she sees that struggle. For example, I grew up in a family where I don't think I ever saw my dad hug my mom. I don't think I ever saw that. But I know they love each other. They love each other. But hug, physical touch. Oh no, wale wangekuwa wanaenda town, labda mama anatembea a few steps behind baba anatembea. But I knew that, so it's not something I am used to seeing. So when my wife comes and she likes the PDA, public displays of affection, I may not be very big in that. But that does not mean I don't love. So I would expect my wife to also appreciate and help me through that struggle. Not to kutane somewhere in between. But as you said, it's true. You may not be good in all the 5.
Even with this issue of gifts, I usually say, don't just go to Bata and just buy ngoma. Know my style. Buy for me things, escalators, things which even when I'm wearing, I feel like, I'm being appreciated. But don't buy for me things and I'm like, really, seriously? I'll not wear them, So I think the key thing, you should know your wife. You should know your spouse. That's what I can say. So that especially on the issue of gifts. Me, I love gifts. So you buy for me things which I don't like. I'm sorry. I'll say I'm sorry, but I'll not put on. Yeah.
I think all these 5 languages of love should be subjected to growth, because we are brought up in backgrounds. Like my brother has said, that where you never saw. And actually some setups, like myself, I just found myself being brought up by my father because my mother died long ago when I was 1 year old. So I didn't have any experience having seen a wife and a husband and how they live and how they relate. And therefore, my wife should help me to bring these things out because I have no experience. So they should be subjected to growth. If it's hugging, you start in a small way. but appreciation should come in, even if you do it in njia ambayo haieleweki vizuri. Usiambiwe, hapana, that is not, because, okay, if it has standards, then it must begin somewhere. So I believe that these 5 languages, they should start somewhere. Hata kama mtu haifanyi with that si perfect sana, akifanya hiyo kidogo, hata akikushika mkono siku moja, you appreciate. Then you go on gaining courage and growing these things. And finally, you'll be a perfect guy.
And I think for me, what then is coming out general, and it's very clear, that's an issue of each and every couple learning each other. That whatever applies to me is not the same thing that will apply to Carol or any other wife or husband. And from these 5, of course, it's almost like a pointer, but there's always a priority. Like for me, I will not mind spending the whole time with my husband from morning to evening, even locked in the same house the whole day. I'm perfectly okay with it. We look for each other almost on a daily basis. So that now, for example, when he comes and maybe perhaps even give me gifts, for me that's just an addition. I have those priority that I think each and every husband, each and every wife must understand. And I think that's where the problem then is, because we get into marriage, you don't want to make that initiative of knowing who is my wife, because I think it's an assignment, and everyone must make it intentional. You fail to make it intentional now, you'll just be doing things your way, because you think you like black shoes and you force it on your wife will not like it, because perhaps you think you like this flowered shirt. Nowadays you see Uhuru and the president, nowadays they are wearing, they are nice, but not all men will want that. Yeah? So that if your men will want the same, they could have picked, please confirm that he's okay with it, and then now that's when you buy. And of course, now the bottom line is also communication. So that now once you communicate, you'll be able to know what does your wife want. There's someone who does not want even to hold my hand when I'm in public, but there's someone who is okay. So when your spouse does that and you did not like it, get back at home and say, by the way, there's 1, 2, 3, you did me, I'm not okay with it. Anytime you want to hug me, wait until I'm in the bed. I'm comfortable with that. So you will learn. And ensure next time when you're in public, don't touch that hand because she'll not be comfortable. And you do that, then definitely will be in trouble. That's the best way to ensure that you apply this 5 love language of love. Don't apply just blankets, blanketly.
Okay, that's a wonderful discussion, I think. But I think as we go home, I'll really be going as I'm thinking, why wouldn't my wife want me not to touch her in public? Food for thoughts.
Stay tuned for the 4th part of the alphabet of marriage on next week's episode. To get the notes of today's lesson, visit www.mbcimedia.com/TMC. Catch the repeat of the Marriage Classroom every Tuesday at 10 p.m.